When you shed your burdens, the mind takes flight, free from useless weights and thoughts. He had noticed that the most common way to confuse and upset people was to rush them and fill them with anxiety and agitation. The visit he received, both at home and outside, were fleeting and hurried encounters, with the other person always lost in their own personal commitment, a little disposed to clarify or answer others' questions. As with a receiver disconnected from its phone, communication didn't happen, and often was cut short at the beginning. He responded to this lack of communication in the same way, with a silent dialogue, but in doing so, the other party reproached him for his outrageous attitude. Even if you are a reflection of them, people usually pretend you as it suits them, and never take you for who you really are. He now had on his shoulders more than 15 years of cruel isolation, which had made him stronger, yes, but now also marked in spirit like the gross dregs of prison, a prison from which he couldn't find a way out. This was the price for not being like everyone else. He hadn't been left speechless, but was confined to a forced silence. In his family, in the past, others had already walked this path, the path of oblivion. For the record, a maternal uncle of his was rejected by parents and relatives for having been imprisoned due to some crimes committed in his youth. The dress of the black sheep, he had realized over time, is hardly conforming to a pseudo-bourgeois society, leaving no room for exceptions. In that tortuous journey, he was retracing the footsteps left by his uncle. It was a very common custom, especially in his family, raising their children with models of suit and tie men, and forcing them from birth to meet the expectations of others, with an education aimed first and foremost at pleasing the will of their parents. But he was used to breaking the rules. The respectability, the convenience, and the patriarchy imposed at birth as the only educational model were not the exception. In the end, the only expectations to meet are and remain our own needs: to eat, to sleep, to fuck, and to self-realize, and then finally die, satisfied with one's existence. They were the only things that mattered to him. Few will care about others' needs, but everyone used their whole yardstick to rate other people's lives. He was a hard-hearted man, and is art man, who felt touched by his words. Maybe growing up meant learning to not give a fuck about everything and everyone. Who knows? Doubt of a rainy January day